Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial on Arduino. So in today's video we are going to do something different. So we are going to learn about creating our own library. So what is a library? So far what we have done is we have used Arduino provided libraries or code, and we have created all the functions in the same file itself. We didn't create multiple files or we didn't use any other library. So if you go to sketch and if you go to include library, you will see that there are already multiple libraries present for us to use in our project. So these libraries make it easier to work with different components and work with different sensors. So these are already predefined libraries which are included with the Arduino. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a very basic, very small library of our own. All right. And we will utilize that library to run an RGB LED. So in today's video, we will be creating RGB effects library. So we will be creating a class that will be used to provide different effects to an RGB LED. So let's begin and see how it is done. So we are going to use Visual Studio Code to perform that. And as you can see, I've installed my Arduino in D directory. So first of all, what I need to do is I need to create a folder inside this libraries folder. I'm going to name this folder RGB effects. All right, I'm just going to call it RGB effect. All right. So this is the place where I'm going to place my created library so that we can use it in our project. All right. So this is Visual Studio Code. I'm going to open that folder. All right. So why I'm using this Visual Studio Code is because it is easier to create uh, or edit different files in this Visual Studio Code. So we are going to create a .h file and .cpp file. If you are familiar with C++ programming, you will remember that these are the header files and the definition files of for C++, right? So let us first create two files. So first file I'm going to name it rgbeffect.h, and another file as, all right, rgbeffect.cpp. So this h file or the header file will contain our definition for the class. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to wrap the content within some preprocessors. If you are not familiar with that, just use as I show you. All right. So why we are using these statements? These are used so that if somebody by mistake used or included our file multiple times, then this will prevent the side effects of that. All right. So within these headers, or you can say within these definitions, we are going to create our class and we are going to name it as RGB effect. All right. So what we are going to do is we'll have some public variables and we'll have some private variables and methods. So in case of public, we'll have a constructor which will be named exactly same as the class name. All right. So this will accept three parameters. We'll call it R pin, int G pin that represents the red pin, the green pin, and the B pin for the blue leg of the LED. All right. So let's declare some private members also. So these are scope modifiers. So public members will be visible to all when we use this library from some other program. Private variables will not be visible to anyone except our own library. All right. So for these, we are going to define three pins. So these three pins will store these defined pins. All right. So since we need to perform, we need to show different effects. So let me define some names for some effects. All right. So first effect that I'm going to name will be, I'm going to name it walk colors, or let's name it walk of colors. All right. We'll decide what it will do later. All right. So next effect we are going to name it as gone, blink and gone. Let's say it blink and blink and gone. All right. So for the time being, we are going to define only two methods or member functions. All right. So we need to do one more thing. We need to provide return type to these methods. All right. So as you can see, the error that it was showing is gone. It is not visible anymore, and the error on this is also gone. So this is the class definition. All right. So we need to provide the declaration, or we need to provide the body of these methods in RGB effect library. All right. So let's get to this. So first thing that we need to do is we need to include Arduino.h. Next, we need to include our RGB effect.h. All right. So we defined a constructor here, right? So we need to provide definition for it. So don't mind this because this is asking for this library. Since we are defining it in this Visual Studio, this Arduino.h is not present here. But don't worry, when we are going to save it, it will be there. All right. So let us define the constructor first. So what we need to do is we need to use the pin mode method on our pin to use this. What we need to do is we need to use pin mode method on this R pin to set it as an output pin, right? So don't mind the errors. We'll get these errors here since we are not providing the Arduino.h library to this Visual Studio. All right, so our constructor is complete. Now let us define other methods also. Like we have this walk of colors. All right. So what we are going to do is we will start with one color and we'll move till, so with one color, like we are going to start with a value 000, all these pins, and then we are going to write it all the way up to 255 comma 255 comma 255, and for that we are going to use analog write function. All right, so let me quickly write this code, then I'll explain it, or I'll just write the command. Let's begin then. So this is our first effect. So let's define the second effect also. All right. So our libraries are complete. So let's save these. So I have saved both of these, and let's uh, check our Arduino IDE. So I'm going to close the IDE. As you can see that the library is present in this libraries folder. Let's open the Arduino and let's create a new sketch, and let's move to this sketch. You can see that this RGB is present here, right? Let's include it. So let's define a method. Let's define an object of this library, right? So we are going to use three PWM pins, and so for that I'm going to use 10, 11, and 12 pins of the Arduino Nano. As these three pins are PWM pins, we can safely use it. Actually, we are not going to use this 12th pin, as it is not a PWM pin. We are going to use 9, 10, and 11, and we don't need to use anything here, as we have already defined the pin mode. We have already called this pin mode method in our uh, library. All right, but we need to make sure that we have connected our RGB pins to these three pins of the Arduino. All right, and this should be red, this should be blue, and this should be green. All right, so let's call the first function walk of color. Actually, it is colors. All right, and we'll provide a delay of, let's say, 2 seconds between different multiple delays, between multiple effects. All right, let's save this sketch and let's name it Arduino underscore RGB effects, right? All right, so let's verify it. Let's see if everything is correct. Okay, so actually we need to correct this, right? All right, let's verify it again. Okay, so we have used it wrongly. Let's correct it. Right. Let's verify it again. All right, so this time there are no errors, right? And it is done compiling. Okay, so let me show you the circuit that I have created. I'm not going to explain the circuit much, as we are focusing more on the library, but I'll show you the circuit. All right, let me remove this one, and let us check the other effect. Let us see how that looks. All right, so we have randomness there, and as you can see that colors are glowing in different colors. And it is changing to different color each time based on that random value. So this is how you can create a library. So I'm going to add more effects to it, and I'll show you how it is looking, and I'll provide the link for the code into the description. You can download it from there. All right, so let me add more code to it, and then I'll show how it is looking. All right, So there is one more thing remaining. If you look at this code, you will see that our class is not highlighted as other classes, right? And our function is also not highlighted as other functions are highlighted. So what we can do is we can add one file which will be named as keywords.txt, and in this class we can define our class and our functions. So we can just copy the names from here and we can paste it here. So keyword 1 basically correspond to classes name and keyword 2 corresponds to function names, right? We are going to save it. So actually there is one thing. This should be a tab, not a space. All right. And now we can save it and then reopen it again, right? So as you can see that the color has changed. It is uh, same as a class color, uh, classes color. And if I remove these comments, then you'll see that even these are highlighted correctly, right? As you can see that delay is also a function and walk of colors is also a function. Blink and gone is a function, and similarly color circle is a function. So let me run this once again, but I'm not going to run this walk of colors as it is a really big function. It will take a lot of time, right? Let me run these two and show you how it looks, right? So this is it for this video. You can create more effects and add to this library, and you can create other libraries also in the same fashion. So if you enjoyed the video, do like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel for more amazing content like this. And if you have any query or if you have any doubt, you can comment me in the comment section. All right, so enjoy the video. Thank you.